All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a really cool video, a highly requested video ever since I teased it on one of my daily videos. But today we're diving into my personal same game parlay strategy that I use each and every night in the NBA. Now, when people hear parlay, they're thinking jackpot plus 1 million odds. That's not what we're getting into in this. This is more of a high hit percentage than a one-time mega payout type of a parlay that we're building. Really, the goal is to use these alternate lines, move and massage the numbers a little bit to get a 3 to 5 leg parlay that pays anywhere in the ballpark of plus 120, plus 150, plus 175. Sometimes more, but that's really the meat and potatoes. Now, I know there's groups out there being like, a 5-leg parlay for only plus 120? Why would you do that? If it wins, it wins. So maybe it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it has been something that we've been able to do and turn profit using. Now, there are two lanes that I can go down on any given day. The first one consists of if we have a side or a total that we really like. We're not going to necessarily get into that one in today's video, but all the other principles of the parlay building are the same. But just note that, if you like a side or a total, massaging that number enough to get you to an even better number is sort of step one in this process. But what I think is honestly the more higher percent chance to hit sort of strategy is looking at the slate. So today we have the November 28th slate in front of us, 8 games. We can go through and look at all of the live totals for these games, right? 237.5 in the Atlanta Cleveland game. That's a very high total. The spread's also minus 4.5. So it's not really expected to be a blowout. So that's really the game that we're identifying. There's a couple more on here that I don't necessarily hate. For example, 236 in the Golden State and Sacramento game with a very close 1.5 point spread. So it's really identifying a high total game and a close game spread wise, so we don't really expect any blowouts. So once we have our game picked, again, really what we're looking for is a game with a lot of points that are expected to be scored, so we can start looking at some of these numbers over on the sports books. And I will note it's really important to find a game that has a high total, not a low total, because this is more of an over strategy. We're not looking for unders here because sportsbooks like DraftKings, MGM, FanDuel, you can do X points plus. You can't always do a high number and take an alternate under, okay? So we're really taking a lot of alternate overs here, but that'll make sense in just a bit. So we have our game. Now we want to look at the players in that game, and I'll link all of these sites I'm using for each of these steps in the description. Make sure to check that out, guys. But this is a site called RotoWire, and it has up to the minute NBA lineups for the day. Now we have Atlanta Cleveland in front of us. It's really important to note, okay, the starting lineup for Atlanta and the starting lineup for Cleveland. They also have injuries down here to make note of, right? But that's going to be super important because this is all going to be positional based analysis, which leads us right into what I am talking about here. This is another site called Fantasy Pros. This you can break down defense versus position. I like to look at last 15 when available. Obviously, we kind of just got past that marker in the NBA this year, so I'm very excited about that. But this will break down what teams allow the most or fewest of a stat category to a certain position. And I built this little template, if you want to call it, for myself. You don't have to do this. You can just kind of make mental note or write it down yourself. But what I essentially do is go through and have the away team's defensive weaknesses here, as well as the home team's defensive weaknesses. I throw in the positions just so I can make note of this. So how I got these numbers, knowing that, Cleveland allows the 6th most points to opposing point guards, it's back on that Fantasy Pros. I go to point guards. Okay, where's Cleveland? Right here, right? Well, green number, that means they allow a lot of points. Then if we filter by points, you could see how low they are. And at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they allow the 6th most points to the opposing point guard position. Kind of templatize it to make sure that it's easy for me as I do it. You don't have to do it. You can just make mental note, like I said, or you can write it down in old school way. So I already filled this out, obviously, but if I were to go through this really fast, I'm pretty much filtering by team name so I can identify where the Hawks are, right? And then I'm going boom, 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 looking for those green numbers: point guards, assists, shooting guards, points, small forwards, assists, power forwards, points and assists, centers. There's no green numbers, right? So if we go back to our sheet, that all lines up: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward. Hopefully all of that is making sense so far. If I were to summarize it and put it pretty simply, all we're doing is looking for defensive weaknesses of the team and looking at the starting player for the opposing team, and now putting them into sort of the pool of players we might consider to throw into our parlay. And like I said, I do like to note where they they rank, you could see Atlanta was green for both assists and 3-pointers made, but they're actually the 7th most. They're not really comparable to the 3rd most points or the 3rd most rebounds for Cleveland, right? So even if it's green, I would still consider looking at where they rank. But anyways, once we do have the rankings, I kind of identify what the highest rankings are, meaning where is the most opportunity. So we'll start with Mitchell. 3rd most points, that's a lot. Hunter, 3rd most rebounds and 3rd most 3-pointers made. And then Mobley here, 4th and 2nd. I'm going to look at Mitchell, Hunter, and Mobley in some sort of a same game parlay. So now we can start building a parlay. I'm on FanDuel right now, but you can use any sportsbook you want, or you can compare a bunch of sportsbooks to one another to make sure you have the best odds out there. But like I said, Mitchell points was the first one we're looking at, right? And it's really important, at least in my opinion. You could have a different opinion. Other people might say something else, but to take a very generous line here. So if you wanted to go with Mitchell, 15 plus points if he's available, you could. I only found 20 plus points for him today, so we'll throw that in there. It's minus 700, right? So we have a minus 700 single play on the board right now, which should tell us this has a very good chance of hitting. But if we wanted to fact check that ourselves, we can head over to Outlier. This is my favorite player prop research tool. I also have a link for this in the pinned comment as well. If you guys do want to sign up, you can get 7 days free, but you can obviously Google these, use StatMuse. There are free tools out there, but this is super convenient. So we're on the player prop screen. I can filter to the Hawks game. Let's just find Donovan Mitchell anywhere. So we can click into him, filter to points, and now let's go alternate line. We did 20 plus, right? So over 19.5. You could see he's done this in all but one game this season. Head to head, last time out last year, he spanked Atlanta 44 points. So it's looking pretty good for us. So we can head back over to the parlay and say, okay, this one stays. So if we head back over to our template here, what is next? Okay, well, I think that we look at Hunter here because it looks like Cleveland really struggles against the small forward position in rebounds and 3-pointers made. So back into our parlay here, we'll start with rebounds. Hunter, we can see his normal line is 4.5. So maybe we try and massage that a little bit. The lowest we can get is 4 plus. So let's go ahead and throw that one in there. So now we're looking at a same game parlay that's already minus 119 just for these two to hit. But like I said, let's do our due diligence. We'll click into DeAndre Hunter here. We can go to his rebounds and see how he's been doing. So we took 4 plus, so that's over 3.5. He's hit it in 4 straight games. He's hit it in 6 of his last 8. It looks like on the season he's hit it in 69% of games this year. So I think that this one is a fair shake as well. But another tool that I like to use, and I know I'm throwing a lot at you guys, but this is supposed to be a somewhat complex video, all right? So we're looking at rebounds. It's really important to go over and look at their rebound chances. This is on the NBA stats page here. I'll link this as well in the description or the pinned comment, but we're looking at rebound chances, meaning how many chances does he actually have at rebounds per game that he doesn't necessarily get, but kind of come his way. So let's go Hunter, right? Let's look for him. DeAndre Hunter is averaging 7.9 rebound chances per game. I like that. It's not the best, but it's good enough. Usually you're looking for around 50% of that number to be his line, which it's right there, right? This is pretty much 8 rebound chances. We want him to get at least 4, but what's good is that he grabs over 50% of his rebound chances, 57%, so I don't hate that whatsoever. It's only minus 165, so it may be a riskier leg in this parlay, but again, we gotta trust the fact that the Hawks are allowing the 3rd most rebounds to the small forward positions, and we'll show you here as well. Small forward rebound, Hawks, or the Cavs, excuse me, Cavs allowing the 3rd most rebounds to the small forward position, DeAndre Hunter to the small forward. There's also some sort of just NBA knowledge that can go into this. Jalen Johnson, the normal starting power forward who does grab a decent amount of rebounds, is out for the Hawks, meaning Hunter should get a couple more opportunities here as Saddiq Bey, who's filling in for Johnson, isn't a huge rebounder. But let's head back to our spreadsheet now. So we already have a decent parlay at minus 119, but we probably want a couple more legs in there, right? So we can stick with Hunter for the moment, because if we look at him, looks like Atlanta also allows a lot of threes to the small forward position. So if we head over and go to player threes here and just look at maybe, you know, Hunter gives us 1 3, it's minus 1200. Does it do much? No, but it should be close to a lock, and it brings that parlay to damn near even odds, right? So that little move that he should hit this 3, and we'll check his stats in a second, brings it from 119 to 101. That isn't bad at all. We can head back over, look at him here. Alternate line is over 0.5. He's done it in pretty much every single game except for one this entire season. Now we're good with Mitchell. We're good with Hunter. We do have Strus for assists. We have Mobley. I think Mobley, obviously being the more dominant player on this team, is probably what we're going to look at. And there's 2 stat categories that we can capitalize on, meaning the Hawks really don't cover this position well whatsoever. And like I said, their starting power forward is out tonight. So I like Mobley in this spot. So again, we're looking at points and assists for Mobley. We'll start with points because this is probably going to jump this up pretty well. So player points, Mobley's normal line is 15.5. I think we go with 10 plus here. It's -800, but it probably should jump us into plus 129 territory. You love to see that. This is probably already good to go just with these 4 picks, right? Like plus 129, 4 legs. It's kind of what we're looking at in terms of our goal. But you got to remember that all of these lines are knocked down severely. We took Donovan Mitchell's line from what, 26.5 to 19.5. We took Hunter's line down to 3.5. We took Mobley's points line down 5 points. So it's not like we're putting normal legs of any game into one. We're putting a lot of altered lines into one. Now we did that on FanDuel. I would encourage you guys to take those same plays and try and get similar lines over on DraftKings, MGM, Caesars, wherever you have your sports books, right? Because the odds may be even better, but the same exact principles apply. And again, these aren't always going to hit, but they will hit at a higher clip than your mega million parlays that you're throwing together of all the regular lines or even long shot lines. And I'm happy to share it with you guys because the proof is in the pudding. We've been hitting on these all season long, right? So hopefully I'm not jinxing myself here and showing it to the public, but it's nothing groundbreaking here, guys. I did just want to share what I do. There's no secret sauce. There's no secret tricks. This is all stuff that you might already know, or you at least should be doing for your single plays anyways, putting that much research in using a bunch of different tools. And again, guys, I'll link all of those sites that I used in the pinned comment, not in the description because that description is pretty cluttered. So the pinned comment will have all of the sites that I used. And Outlier is a paid service, 7 days free with the link in the pinned comment. You can also get it for $19.99 a month after that. So it's really not that backbreaking anyways, but nonetheless, I did want to shout that out that you do get 7 days free over an Outlier. Hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this. Obviously, we do the daily NBA, the weekly NFL, and all those types of videos for picks. But if you want to see my strategy and me kind of peeling back the curtain, let me know in the comments. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.